Greetings, I'm Bairnt and welcome to the One-Stop Co-op Shop. Today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter preview of the game Dawn of Madness. Now this game is by Dimension Games and is brought to you by Roger Ho, Chauncey Cherry Lee, and Byron Levitt. I'm excited to bring this playthrough to you. Now, Dawn of Madness takes place in the same universe as Deep Madness, though they're in different time periods. This is a story-driven cooperative game of survival horror for up to 1 to 4 players. Yes, you can play this solo, or you can play with up to 4 players. They've referred to this game as a true horror experience. And with that in mind, I do want to tell you that this game is not for all ages. There can be some disturbing imagery in this game, and also there could be some text from the actual story-driven part of the game that may not be for all ages. In this game, you're going to go through a campaign that results in an epic finale. And the finale that you have to go through is determined by your choices and how the actual game unfolds through that campaign. So the ending is never really the same. Now in this first video, I want to do a quick intro and component overview, and then we're going to start playing Dawn of Madness. I do want to say this is, of course, a miniatures-based game, so we have some of our evil miniatures here that are going to be going after our hero. Our hero that we're going to be playing is Emily, and we're going to go and talk about her in just a second. So if you're excited for Dawn of Madness and want to see how this game is played, then I need you to meet me at the co-op shop. Now, when we start our campaign, we have to choose our wanderer. There are 4 wanderers that came in this Kickstarter prototype, and they're maybe more unlocked as the game goes on. Now, I do also want to mention that since it is a prototype, anything that I'm showing you right now may change as the Kickstarter develops or even as the game develops through production. So for this Kickstarter prototype, we are going to use Emily Hawkins. That's going to be our character that we're going to choose. So I'm going to get rid of these other ones and we're going to look at Emily Hawkins. Emily Hawkins is a nurse, and so am I. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to play Emily Hawkins. I very rarely get to play nurses in games, so it's kind of awesome that one of the characters is actually a nurse. Now we're going to take the character board. We're also going to take her standee that moves around the board, and then we're also going to take her mental capacity tracker. Now, in this game, you can also use miniatures as well, and we'll be using the miniatures for this game. Here is Emily right here. She's painted up just like that. She's going to be our miniature on the board, so I'm not actually going to be using this standee, but it does come with them if you wish to use them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our cubes based on the numbers inside our actual character board here. These cubes are right here. These are going to be our sentient cubes, and we're going to have these that we're going to be able to use in the game to actually help with determining different skill checks and performing actions during the game. So we have our character all set up. Once we've done that, we have to choose which of the 4 heroes, or wanderers I should say, story we're going to play first. Now, in this preview, we're going to be playing Emily Hawkins's. So in that case, we have to make sure we get her resistance cards that are going to be able to be played against some of the evil monsters. Now, each wanderer comes with 3, but in the Kickstarter preview, we only have 1. So I do have my card here that's going to help us in her story. And this is going to be played against what's called the Abomination, and we will see a little bit more of him shortly. Next, we're going to go ahead and put out the board and create the other world. To do that, we're going to grab Emily's World Shard cards. These are the ones that are specific to her and are going to advance her story through these cards. All the other wanderers do have these as well. Here are some of the other ones for the other wanderers that we decided not to play with. And if you decide to play with more than 1 player, you're going to put these out on the board along with the actual person who is developing their story for that campaign round. Next, we're going to go ahead and add any number of these other world shard cards that don't have any story markers on them. The amount of other world shard cards that we're going to be taking is going to be based on the amount of wanderers playing. So since only Emily is playing, we're going to take her 4 and we're going to take 8 of these to make a deck of 12 other world shard cards. And we're going to mix these up and we're going to place these all around the board. So if you look at the board, you're going to see right up here the number 1. That's where our first card is going to go. So we're going to go ahead and lay these out right like this. So 1 is going to go there, 2 is going to go there, and so on and so forth. Now that we have the world shard cards placed on the board, the next thing we're going to grab is we're going to grab our Wanderer's specific portal cards. There are a bunch of cards that are going to go underneath these cards as well here. And each one of these is going to have a story that goes along with it. So not only are you going to get story moments from the actual Wanderer's cards, you're going to get them from their portal cards as well. So we're going to shuffle these up and place them again around the board. Now, if you've noticed, some of these are not being used, like 16 and 13, for example. Those aren't used during a 1 and 2 player game, but once you get to 3 and 4, you're going to be using this entire board. So just like our world shard cards, we're going to go ahead and place these face up underneath those world shard cards. So we're going to put 1 there, 2 there, and so on. So now that we have our board set up, we're going to take our dashboard, we're going to flip it over, and not only does it have a neat little story about Emily that you can read once you get the game, it says starting world shard, whisper in the hall. So we're going to take our miniature and place it right here at the starting world shard, whisper in the hall, which is located right here. So the next thing we need to do is create a malformation deck over here. These are the cards for Emily's malformations. Now, of course, all the different Wanderers are going to have their own set of malformations. What are malformations? That is a fantastic question. They're other forms of yourself, made from the darkest fragments of your consciousness. They are enemies that can bring great danger to the Wanderers, but are also able to attack the Abomination. So based on whatever card is in here, we're going to have to deal with what is going to be going on the board. So you're going to see how that plays out as we go through the game. So the first thing we're going to do is take our set of number 1s. We're going to mix those all together. We're going to place them up here. And we're going to reveal the top card. And that's what that malformation is going to do when it's on its turn. On these cards, I will show you one real quick. It shows you their existence, also their mental capacity. Existence is kind of like your life in this game, and your mental capacity is your kind of your turn order that you're going to go in. Also, it has an ability up here that it's going to take place. And if it's in the same place as the Abomination, we can use its resistance ability to go ahead and hopefully damage the Abomination. So that's number 1. Here's all of our number 2 cards. We're going to mix those up a little bit. We're going to put those down as well. We're going to flip over the top card. Next, we're going to do our number 3, mix those up as well, and we're going to be all set to go. And we're going to flip that one, and then we're going to take our malformations and place them on the board. Once that is done, we're going to take our 3 malformation miniatures, this is one of them, and we're going to place them randomly down on the other 3 reality shards that we do not have our Wanderer on. So there's 1, 2, and this is our 3rd one. We're going to go ahead and place them down on our world shards right like that. Now we're going to go ahead and get our Abomination set up. The first thing we have to do is choose one. We're going to choose Frenzy. In the base game, it will come with 4. Of course, more may unlock during the Kickstarter, but right now we have 4. This is the one that was given to me. We have Frenzy. We're going to play against him. These are a lot of the different rules that go along with them. We'll go over those as we play the game. So this is our Abomination's Confrontation deck. We're going to shuffle this up. This deck is going to be used when we're actually attacking the Abominations with either our Malformations or with our lead Wanderer, using her resistance cards that she has. This one, for example, right here. When you go ahead and attack the Abomination, you're going to use one of these cards in conjunction with one of those cards to determine what will actually happen to the Abomination, or even you, depending on what you roll. Next, we're going to be going ahead and setting up our Devour deck. Our Devour deck for this one is created of all the Rage cards, because that is the Abomination we're playing. We're playing the Rage part of Frenzy. As the game progresses, you're going to be moving into fighting different stages of Frenzy. For example, here are the 12 cards for Frenzy, but then we also have ones for Aggression. So if we decide to go against Aggression, that would be the one we'd take. So here are the 9 cards associated with him, or 12 cards associated with him. And then we're going to also take 12 random ones from the other world deck. And we're going to add both of those together, and we're going to create our Devour deck. These are going to be used when we go to make skill checks when there's Devour tokens on the board, which I will show you. They look like this, and as we progress through the game, they're going to be going out on the board on certain locations. And when we do try to make a skill check with one of these Devour tokens there, we have to draw Devour cards to see what happens. So let's go ahead and make our deck. So I've gone ahead and created our Devour deck. We're going to place it right there. So the next thing we have to do is place out 4 Devour tokens on each of the Central Wanderer's world shards. So those are the ones that we have placed out here that have our storybook icons and some of these other iconography on them as well. So we're going to place one on each of those. Now they're going to be pretty easy to find because there's already a character on each one of those. So now we've placed our Devour tokens, we do have to place our Abomination as well. So we have our Rage Abomination right here. He's ready to go, and he looks pretty mean. Oh my goodness, this guy looks awesome. I'm really impressed with the miniatures in this game so far that I've seen. These are absolutely awesome. So this is Rage. He's going to go ahead and be on the board, or I should say he's Frenzy. Sorry, he's Frenzy, and we're fighting against the Rage part of Frenzy. In order to place our guy, we're going to have to roll a die. So I'm going to take our 12-sided die. Now, if you're playing with 3 or 4, you're going to roll this 16-sided die. A 16-sided die. I've never seen a 16-sided die. So I'm pretty excited that it comes with a 16-sided die. But we're only playing with one character, so we're going to roll our 12-sided die to see where our Abomination goes. We're going to roll it right up here. We got a 5. So we're going to place our Abomination in number 5, which is located way up here. So our Abomination is way up there. So the last thing we have to do to get our board ready is set up our mental tracker. This is kind of our turn tracker as to who goes when. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at Emily here, and her mental capacity is 7, which means we're going to place her standee at 7. Whichever person is in the top part here is going to actually go ahead and perform their action. And as we perform actions, we're going to move ourselves down. For example, this one, if I wanted to do this, would cost me 2 of my mental capacity. So I would have to move her down 2. And then if there's anybody here or here, then they would go next in order of their turn based on what it actually is. If it's a Wanderer, then you can choose who wants to go. If it's actually an Abomination or one of the Malformations, they're going to go ahead and move before any of our Wanderers actually do. So now that we got Emily on the board, we're going to go ahead and place our Abomination. Our Abomination has a mental capacity of 6. So we're going to go ahead and place him right here on the 6. And then we're going to go ahead and put out our Malformations, starting with number 1. Our number 1 has a 6, we're going to put her there. Our number 2 has a 5, we're going to put her there. And our last Abomination down here has a 3 mental capacity, so her token's going to go right there. Now that we have our board set up, we have to set up Emily's specific conscious realm. So this is her conscious realm. What is the conscious realm, you ask? The conscious realm is a set of pivotal locations found within Emily's story. You can gain entry to this conscious realm through the portals that we're going to be going through. Here, if we resolve this, we would be able to go to portal 5, which if we look on her conscious realm would be here at the Lockwood Asylum. So as we play through the game, we're going to be unlocking different conscience tokens that we're going to be placing on Emily's conscious realm. And those conscious realms are going to give us other story moments in the game that are going to reveal more about Emily. Also, maybe helping gain different abilities or items, or also we can use it to gain points towards the finale that we're going to be going into. So we're going to take our Central Wanderer's Conscious Realm encounter cards and place them down here on the blue one. But before we do that, I want to show you, it says Western Asylum, Asylum Grounds. So you're going to find that on your conscious realm, and we're going to place an encounter token there, one of these blue ones. So we're going to do that for all 3 of them. We have the Asylum Grounds for the Western Asylum. So we're going to put that one right here on the Asylum Grounds. The next card we have is Family Home Bottom Floor Bathroom. So we're going to go to Family Home Bottom Floor, and we're going to look for the bathroom. We're going to put another token right there. Lastly, we have the Lockwood Asylum Parents Closet. Now, I think this might be a misprint because the only parents closet I have is right here, and that's actually at the upper family home. I don't think there actually is one in the Lockwood Asylum. If you look there, I don't see any parents closet. So that's my guess. We're going to put those cards right over there. Next, we're going to take our deep encounters. We got a lot of these for Emily, and these are just going to be placed right here. These will unlock as we play through the game, potentially. But right now, they're her deep encounter cards, so we don't actually know where they are on the conscious realm. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and put down Emily Hawkins' Coda cards right up here. Now, those Coda cards are cards that can be obtained after doing certain encounters or memories. And these are specific to Emily's chapter. So as we play through this, we might be unlocking some of these coda cards, which are going to give us some advantages, I believe, when we actually play through the game. Let's quickly look at one. So for example, we have our Web of Lies. If it tells us to take this card, not only do we gain 45 points, and I'll explain how those work during the playthrough, we also get to flip it over and gain the advantages down here. So we get +1 red, but -1 yellow. And you can change a red into any other domain at any time, limit once per round. And of course, I'll explain a lot of that as it goes. So we're going to be able to gain these coda cards as we play through the game. Now, the next thing we need to do is create an aberration and distortion encounter deck. Now, this is a prototype, so I actually don't have that deck, but I do have the cards that go along with these. And you have to take first your 3 aberrations that actually go with the actual story we're doing. So these are the 3 that are going to go with Emily. So we're going to have those 3 cards. And then here are 3 of the distortions. So we have these cards as well. Now, I don't have a face down deck that I can shuffle up. So instead, when we go to spawn some of these, I'll just go ahead and pick some of them to put out just to demonstrate how they all work. Next, we're going to prepare inner offerings. Inner offerings are special things that are found on each one of our Wanderer's cards. So on the back of these player cards, we're going to see that each one, plant and meat, that is what she is bringing that is unique to her character, since she's a farmer. Now, of course, we have Emily here, and she's the only one we're playing, so her inner offerings are going to be psychiatric treatment and physical treatment. Now, that is going to mean that we're going to gain these 2 different decks of cards, and they're going to be used throughout the game. Now, the way you set these up is you're going to have to go through and look at how those interact through the storybook of your character. Now, again, in this prototype, I don't have the info for that, but when we start the playthrough, I'll be able to explain how those work. Next, we're going to set up our domain deck. So we've got this entire huge set of cards. We're going to shuffle this up and we're going to place it right up there in our domain area. Now, these domain cards are going to be actually very powerful cards for us. I'll show you what one of them looks like. And you're going to be able to gain up to 4 of these. 4 is your max you can have. Now, if we look at this, the symbols up here are going to be able to, you can play this to add this dice pool to some kind of tests we're doing. You can also play this card on other Wanderers' turn to help them out as well. Otherwise, you could use this card to do the bottom action where you're going to spend these symbols to be able to gain this ability when you play this card. So we're going to be gaining these cards as we play through the game, and we're going to be able to use them to help us with tests or even during some actions. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our plot tokens. This is a specific token set for Emily, and these are going to unlock during the story encounters, but you put them in order from lowest to highest. And these all look like puzzle pieces. I know I've seen a couple questions about whether or not you can do the puzzle. You can't do the puzzle. It's not really a puzzle. It just is a neat way to show how these work. Now, what these are going to do is as these unlock, you're going to read through the different stories that go with these. And then as you go to the finale, you're going to go ahead and reveal your plot tokens and find out what finale you're going to be going through. For example, if we had this one right here, when we finally finish the entire campaign, we would flip this over and we would find that this one would gain us +1 towards the red door ending. I don't actually know what ending that is because I haven't looked through anything like that, but I just wanted you to know how these plot tokens work. So now we have our plot tokens. We're going to put them, like I said, in a descending order from lowest to highest. There we go. In ascending order, descending order, whatever we got there. The next thing we have is our memory cards. These are also cards that are going to unlock during the our encounters in the campaign. And we're going to be going through the different stories again and gaining some abilities. And then on the back of these also have a number that are going to tell you how many points you're going to gain to decide whose finale you're going to do at the end of the game. We're going to place these cards right there. I've also, along the side of the board, put out all the different status things that could happen to you. I shuffled these decks and placed them along the side. Now, with that being said, I am going to show you exactly the whole layout that you can expect from Dawn of Madness. I'm going to move more into a handheld mode so I can at least show you kind of the whole big picture of what's there. If it makes you sick, I apologize. So we have all of our stuff here for our aberrations, our Abomination, and Emily itself. And we have some of those tokens. Now, of course, above her, we have our consciousness track. And that's going to move. And those are all our status cards right there. We're going to move this way. We have our dice ready to go. Here are some of our tokens that we're going to be using during the game. And then there's the board. So this game, when panned out, takes up quite a bit of your gaming table. There you go. That is the Dawn of Madness setup. Wow, look at all the stuff that encompasses this game. I'm really excited to get to this game real soon. Now, before we start, we have to roll to find out where these go. I have to draw some domain cards, but we're going to do that when we actually get to the playthrough video. I think that's a great place to start. Thank you so much for watching this intro setup video. I hope some of the answers that you needed for the Kickstarter were found during the setup. I'm going to move into a playthrough next so that you can see exactly how this game functions. I'm really excited to do that. This game looks so great and it's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited to see what happens to our nurse, Emily. Now again, this is a Kickstarter prototype, so I'm not going to be able to show you every single thing that happened to this game, and there also may be spoilers in this game that I'm about to play. Just make sure you know that. I don't know exactly how much of this is going to change during the production and during what unlocks in the Kickstarter, but I want to give you a base concept of how to set this game up and the mechanics that go along with it. Now, if you're excited to see if Emily can learn more about herself and maybe take on Frenzy, then I need you to meet me at the co-op shop.